Action.
Hello, and welcome back to Charly. Today we're reading chapter 10.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
I can't believe we've made it through this far. This is our pioneer track.
Our burying a sack of flour in the ground in the name of learning. Tana, what do you remember from last week? Where did we leave off?
Oh boy, we left off in them homesteading.
Well, yeah, they were kind of wrapping up their homesteading journey.
She
They
didn't
had
realize.
a toilet.
Yeah, couldn't get pregnant. Charlie was not going to church. It was kind of a little fear factor for everybody. Yeah. We're starting to question maybe her motives and to see whether or not God smites her for her disobedience.
The power of the priesthood stepped in so she would come back to church, happy wife, happy life. I also feel like Jack's going to take it in the direction of like her getting pregnant now that they have a house, and I kind of feel like there was some subtle messaging about that last week. Like, well, Heavenly Father's not sending you a baby because you're being prideful and not calling on your boys from the ward to help you. If you're enjoying this series, please consider supporting us on Patreon, and thank you to our patrons for making quality content like this possible. We have the biggest project in the works right now.
We really have caught fire, and it's all due to Jack. Jack has vivified this channel. You wouldn't believe the level of creative energy we have vampired from the jugular of Charlie.
And you can hear it in the way Tana's constructing sentences, okay? Our creative writing juices are through the roof, and I bet it's going to really come through in this episode. I'm not sure what the connection is between having a bathroom that works and fertility, but within the month, Charlie became pregnant. There we go. With the rush of building, we had even forgotten to watch the calendar for fertile days. It had all happened without our planning. That means they had unscheduled sex, which is very cool.
Fertile Days sounds like a festival in Provo. Buy your tickets to Fertile Days, we'll be there.
The verdict was evident as she came bouncing out of the doctor's examining room. "I'm pregnant," she happily announced to the entire waiting room. Then she came over to me, sat on my lap, and kissed me. The lady next to us warmly congratulated us.
I can't wait for the gender reveal party. He's probably going to burn down Big Cottonwood Canyon.
Go big or go home. "Thank you, doctor," she bubbled as we paid our bill and left. "Wait a minute," I complained. "I'm the one you should thank."
I inseminating
her. He
it started
more
with
credit
me.
than the doctor who went to med school for 10 years and paid hundreds of thousands of dollars so he could have this profession to now help you through your delivery of a child into the world.
He built the nest.
He's just such a...
He's a baby.
Curmudgeon.
An infant baby.
He's a curmudgeon. You called him
is.
that before.
Yeah.
Our euphoria was short-lived, however. Within a few weeks, she had morning sickness, an optimistic phrase meaning in reality that she couldn't hold down anything during the morning, afternoon, or evening hours. And how did I comfort her, you ask? Breaking the fourth wall a little bit. That's fun.
Jack just perceived me.
You didn't prepare us for this.
Don't make me a part of this.
Oh, well, it was worth it. So, how did he comfort her, you ask?
I am asking.
It's all in your head, I advised, watching her lean over our lovely toilet.
Why do I want to bash my face with a pipe?
A strong issue I have with the character of Sam is that even if Jack is sort of deliberately writing a character with these flaws, these like...
It seems like he is. Jack
even
must
if he's self-aware,
know.
There's never any kind of like change, or it's not like there's not any building awareness on Sam's part, except for when he lost the girl and then he was like, oh, actually I should like be more fun. But it's like, there's never any redemption. There's never any character development. There's not. It's just like, yep, that's the character of Sam. He fucking sucks. Charlie's amazing, and he gets to have her for eternity.
Well, listen. We're only in chapter 10, which seems like a lot of things should have been wrapped up or more cohesively and clearly put together at this point. But I'm giving Jack the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, the benefit of the doubt, and I think he's going to surprise us. I think. Maybe this is a God v. Lot situation. Is Lot the guy? No, that's the pillar of salt. Job. Job. Remember, Job was just...
Except all the trials are from him being so shit himself.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's totally different. He's just an asshole, and it's never addressed. Yeah. Last night, I got reading the Rotten Tomatoes reviews of the film Charly, and someone said something like, this gave us no insight into love or faith. Like, here's a bad relationship. And it's not even a bad relationship. Jack's just like, here.
This synopsis describes the book as, for more than 20 years, readers have been charmed by this lively, heart-wrenching, and unforgettable romance between two seemingly mismatched people.
I don't think I will be able to forget it, unfortunately.
Charly is a classic love story.
A classic love story between a Mormon asshole and a convert,
as fresh, entertaining, and emotionally packed as it was when originally published.
No.
Okay, so he's just told her that her morning sickness is all in her head, so he's going to be a great pregnancy companion, I can tell.
Has never, ever heard of pregnancy or seen it portrayed or
But wasn't he
anywhere.
raised in a big family of 6 kids that really prepared him well for parenthood? That's so interesting that you can have that experience and be so well prepared for fatherhood and know nothing about
Is that
pregnant
what his dad said about his wife?
Probably. She retched once more. I mean it, Charly. It's psychosomatic. He's like victim blaming her in the moment while she's retching.
Oh my god.
Like, I mean it. Like, you're choosing this, bitch.
So she's just still so broken or whatever that she's like...
So this is an abusive relationship.
This is an abusive relationship. She does not have the self-love to realize that she is being abused.
A classic love story. I mean, the classic love story is often emotionally abusive.
Jesus.
But grim. Fucking grim. The audacity of this synopsis. She stood up, stumbled to the wash basin, and washed out her mouth. You ever been pregnant before? No. Then be quiet, okay? Then she lurched back into the bedroom. Naturally, I felt bad. It doesn't seem natural that you would feel bad. It is like a giant question mark in our minds.
He's like, compute. I should
Naturally,
feel bad.
I registered that feeling bad was the correct emotional response to this situation.
Human wife, I am very sorry.
Don't worry about supper. I'll just eat in town before I come home from work. Okay, I just want to call attention. So this is him trying to be like a good guy by saying, don't worry about making me supper. I'll just eat out. Not,
you
don't
make
worry about
her dinner!
Yeah, exactly. Not, don't worry about supper. I'll pick us up something on the way from work.
Hell?
Just don't worry about it.
Take care of yourself, okay?
Also, this next sentence is so fucked up. She moaned something that, fortunately, I didn't hear. Oh, thank God I didn't have to hear my pregnant wife moaning.
Oh, yeah.
God,
that could have really
nothing
ruined my night,
okay?
for sure.
I've got a meal to go get in town.
I got dinner with myself.
But even all bad things come to an end. By the end of her 4th month, the hormone factory switched gears, and she became all at once large, alert, and full of energy. And I'm not sure why, but in spite of her bulging tummy, or maybe because of it, she became to me more beautiful than ever before. Don't love the phrase, in spite of her bulging tummy. It has the energy of the I love my curvy wife guy. Uh-huh. Maybe because of it, potential pregnancy fetish.
She's becoming energetic. Is pregnancy horniness a thing?
Yeah. Whoa. I don't know that that's necessarily implied, but he's just saying. He's
pretty much saying it.
Well,
he's like, she's more beautiful.
She became to me more beautiful than ever before. Her spirit is radiant.
Oh, yeah. I bet his penis can really pick up on how radiant her aura is or whatever.
Finally, she could go back to Relief Society once more. After her experience with Sister Rita, she came to really enjoy searching out the sisters who needed encouragement and spending time with them. She's just like Princess Diana. No one in her circle takes her seriously. No one cares about her feelings. So she goes out and she cares about everyone else's feelings. Underdog mindset. That's why she's with you, Sam.
# free Charly.
And she certainly livened up the lessons. Sam, I've got a confession to make. Yeah? What? I should tell you before anyone else does. Okay. In Relief Society today, the teacher asked us to share some of the things we do with our husbands that bring us closer. She made a little list on the blackboard. One sister said gardening, and Sister Pearson wrote it down. Another said bowling, and she wrote it down. After about 5 minutes, she had a wonderful list. You didn't, did you? I did. I raised my hand and told them.
You told them that you peg me?
My husband and I like to make love. Poor Sister Pearson, she dropped her chalk. I do remember this being like a scandalous moment in the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, she's so cool and fun. They're so modern. It was about that time that our bishop made an appointment to speak to us. Oh, wow. First, he talked to me in his office about a calling he had in mind for Charly. My response was, you've got to be kidding.
Okay, wait. First of all, hang on. I'm sorry. We just have to address the fact that a room full of adults were surprised to hear
that she likes to have sex with her husband to be closer with him.
I just want to just pointing that out really quick.
In a church that promotes that like being married is the most important thing, like procreating is the most important thing. You're only allowed to have sex with one person forever.
It actually probably was pretty progressive in the 80s to make love for connection and fun.
Honestly.
And not just for popping out
Honestly, but what's she connecting with? I'd love to know. Okay, so I think Jack Wayland is kind of like doing a little diversion thing because...
I told you they were horny.
I think the bishop's going to be like, she needs to be Relief Society president. She's just... Because I think they're trying to be like, yes, progressive Mormon women who are still ultimately like just allies to the patriarchy, but you know... And I love how she felt like she had to confess before someone else told her husband that she had said she liked having sex with him. In an all-women meeting about marriage.
Yeah.
I swear Relief Society literally just existed for all the polygamous wives to, like, have somewhere to vent.
Mm-hmm.
And to, like, get them away while all the men strategize, like, what young women from... Like, I was reading a quote yesterday from, like... I don't know if it was Orson Pratt or who it was, but basically just like chastising some of the missionaries for taking all the hot women from England for themselves and like bringing the ugly ones over. I was like, oh God.
So like, go do it yourself, man. I think, Relief Society. You also have to learn how to do all the little chores for your husband. Yeah, you got to learn to do
the grapes in the bowl.
Yeah, make your candles, your doilies. Otherwise, your husband won't love you. Mm-hmm. Or you're not worthy of your husband's love, I should say.
This is the bishop talking. You wouldn't mind if I talked to her about it, would you? I waited in the hall for her. When she came out, she was either laughing or crying. Maybe both. He called me to be a counsellor in the Relief Society presidency. Whoa!
Wow, Charly is spiritual.
I know. What did you say? The man's crazy, you know? I said I didn't quilt, and he said it didn't matter. Then I told him that I don't make my own bread. He said it wasn't necessary.
I also suffer from psychosomatic vomiting during pregnancy. I'm totally fucked up, man. You don't want me.
Then I admitted that I don't can vegetables or make your shirts. And I told him what a rotten cook I am. I love how it's just understood within the culture at this time that these things are what qualify women for leadership positions in a women's only thing, because that's their only job.
And I know this is coming out of him too. She's telling him because she's reinforcing the things that he has, the expectations that he set for her.
Totally.
And women generally.
Mm-hmm. So I told him what a rotten cook I am, that to me, butter is a spice. And he just smiled and said that it was okay. So I asked him why on earth he would call me to the position. And he said, because you make people loved and important. That's more important than quilts.
Wow, Jack.
Jack, yes.
You done it, Jack. You jacked right into our hearts.
I held her in my arms. After a few minutes, she looked at me and asked, do you know why I'm crying? Our bishop is the Lord's mouthpiece. This call means that Heavenly Father can use me in his church.
Well, you're going to hate to find out that the bishop is actually embezzling from a business. He's going to go to jail for white-collar crime.
I belong here, Sam. We both may have shed a few tears that day, but I hid it better than she did. So, Jack Wayland is clearly very pro-bishop.
Yes.
As mouthpiece of the Lord.
I think we've pretty much got that so far. He's sort of the wise man archetype
the bishop is
in
the guide
Sam's
in the
life.
story. Yeah. I mean, that has, since this book was written, proved itself to be hugely problematic. Endless stories of bishops abusing their power over young children and women and all kinds.
Yeah, we really did see a bunch of problems with Sam, and then, like, a moment that, like, kind of made us feel good, but none of Sam's stuff was addressed. It was like, yeah, Charly does do good things.
It's all about Charly changing and, like, being good enough just as she is. It's never even really questioned if Sam's good enough. That never comes up, even though he's the one displaying the most problematic characteristics and lack of empathy for people and just fucking delusions. With Charly in the Relief Society presidency, we entered our Lamanite phase. There were
Excuse me, what?
No. Oh, no, Tanner. Oh, this is not... Oh, shit. This is going in a direction I wasn't expecting.
It's
worse than you think. It's exactly what you think. Just let me read it. We entered our Lamanite phase. There were nearly 100 Sioux Indians, or Lamanites, in the area who were members of the church. And part of her assignment in the presidency was to try to help activate... Vomiting because of how gross it is. Should I redo me saying that, or it's...
I don't know. I think I kind of like the authenticity
Yeah, I
of
think
being
so too.
truly sickened.
I think that is the appropriate reaction to that. Oh God, Charlie, no.
Wait, okay, so you mean to tell me that the religion who has completely whitewashed the history of the Native Americans by managing to offend both Native Americans and Jews
By literally
telling
peddling an ethnocentric white man's fantasy story of their own history as the truest book of any true book on earth.
saying that a bunch of Jews came over to the Americas and that's where the Native Americans are. They were a bunch of Christians who turned away and became a fallen, horrible people. You're meaning you want to tell me that the religion that has that book is gonna go out and try to activate Native American people? What are you gonna tell them? Oh, this is this is just after the Indian placement program ended, or maybe even
Began.
during.
It probably was during. I think it
Kimball
was
died
closed in like the
in,
90s, wasn't it?
Oh, whoa. Yoicks.
Wow, so this is where we're going. I was just prepared for more misogyny,
The Lamanite
which I had become
phase.
accustomed to.
Even now, the church has the
Even-
sensibility to
yeah.
be like, oh, well, no, the Native Americans aren't necessarily.
Some of them might be. We're not really
we all
saying
kind of.
that,
It's
we're
all
just-
genetics.
yeah.
Trust the gene science. Except don't actually look into the gene scientists and don't trust the scientists. Talk to the apologists who are explaining the science because they get it.
Okay, Tanner. Let's power through this.
Oh, we have more to power through.
It's going to get worse before it gets better, and it's not going to get better. Since the bishopric considered it unsafe for women to travel alone to some of the neighborhoods, casual racism, I was recruited into the Relief Society as a visiting teaching companion to my wife. Parentheses, actually we combined home teaching with it. Just so you know, it was all above board. I was still doing mine. We're from the Mormon church, Charlie said to an elderly...
The Mormon church. That didn't age well, using a slur. Wow, Jack.
Charlie said to an elderly Indian lady at one of our first doors. May we come in? I know that... even now I see people like use the phrase Indian to refer to Native Americans, and I'm just confused because it's like if the British went to a country and was like, oh yes, Germans, and then later found out that they were French people, they wouldn't like keep calling them Germans. But it's like,
funny
why
you
is
use
their
that
name
example
stuck?
because a lot of Germans after World War II fled to South America, and now like in Brazil they'll see like a white person and be like German.
Doesn't quite feel the same.
No, it's not actually. Funny connections.
Just language, so cute.
No. Yeah, this is. I've heard Native Americans referring to themselves as Indians, but like you wouldn't call someone that, like, it's obviously incorrect, and
Yeah.
they've just like not cared enough to say the right thing.
Yeah. The woman, Sister Whitehorse, let us in and then mysteriously disappeared into another room. Thinking she'd be back in a minute, we sat down opposite 4 huge, young, apparently militant Indian men. What does that mean, apparently militant? Like they have guns
They have
on
guns, ammo.
them? They all had
shooting
long
at
braided
him.
hair. On the wall were several anti-white posters. Can't
I
imagine
wonder
why.
why.
It's shocking, wow. Well, I said brightly, it's sure cold out today, isn't it?
What is an anti-white? I've never seen an anti-white poster. Who's making these?
Maybe it's just because like Sam grew up with anti-Native American posters, and so he just assumes they must have them too.
No, it's like a conservative seeing a Black Lives Matter and being like, that is anti-white.
Yeah. It's probably like, stay safe from the white man, like he will kill you. They looked at us but didn't say a word or even nod their heads. I can't believe Jack is being this bold. It's just the issues he's willing to tackle.
I'm just curious
no
why they didn't
hesitation.
keep this in the movie. Can you imagine?
Where's the Lamanite scene?
Jack having a
Major
meeting with
motion
them.
picture producers.
They had to bring it to him. Sorry, Jack.
She's a mouthpiece of the Lord right now, being of service to his church. You're just going to cut that out of the movie? It's pretty fucked up. With the wind blowing so much, it really adds to the wind chill factor. He always goes to weather talk, doesn't he? One of them took out a knife and began to cut his fingernails. Of course, in a few months, I continued, feeling my voice becoming more tense and higher in pitch. When it's hot, we'll wish it were cold again. Isn't that right? I smiled an idiotic smile. Absolute silence.
A total inability to connect with another person.
So I guess we'd better take advantage of the cold while we've got it, isn't that right? They just stared at me. What was worse, now Charly was looking at me exactly the same way they were. Sam? Yes? Be quiet. We sat in silence for maybe 5 more minutes. It was unbearable to me. This again is giving me Prince Charles, Princess Diana vibes, where Prince Charles is just an absolute idiot with PR and like doesn't know how to connect with people, and Diana's like... Finally, Sister Whitehorse came back to see us. We came to invite you to Relief Society, Charly said warmly. It's on Tuesday at 10 o'clock. I can pick you up if you like. Wait, did Relief Society used to be on Tuesdays at 10 o'clock a.m.? Because all the women were... It was just assumed that no one would work. Interesting. Oh, yes, Sister Whitehorse smiled. Then we left. Okay, so there was like literally no need to write the Lamanites as like that in the scene. There was no purpose other than just revealing his racism. You know, just like that's the only way he knows how to write that character, is they're just like menacing with a knife, not talking to you.
Anti-white.
Anti-white.
In the belly of the beast.
Yeah.
He has walked through the valley of the shadow of death.
I don't know why, for a moment, I thought we might like have this somehow turn into a conversation where both sides could kind of like see each other and Sam could learn a little something. No, it's just, we're just going in there, we're colonizing, we're getting out, we're bringing Sister Whitehorse with us to church. So then we left. The work with the Lamanites isn't so... It's just calling them the Lamanites. I just can't get over the work with the... I cannot get over this. The work with the Lamanites isn't so tough, she confidently announced as we drove home. But on Tuesday, when she went to pick them up, none of the sisters she had invited went with her. After a month of disappointment, she finally said, I know where they don't come. It's because they don't feel comfortable. Why should they? I haven't always felt comfortable there either. Not until I got to know the sisters. I mean, it could be the fact that you're all white and like your entire religion is like built on being racist towards their culture.
And your whole premise for friendship and connection with this person is try to convert them into your organization. You don't want to be their friend. They like, it's not authentic. That's the problem. That's the problem with Mormonism, is it's not authentic. Like, if you want to be someone's friend and be kind to someone, just do it. But when there's always that attachment that you only if you're willing to do the things that I want you to do, then you'll be worthy of my love and attention. It's like, well, people can see through that.
You don't even see our home as like safe to come to without a man. Like, that's what your community thinks of us.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have some nice white saviorism happening now, so that's gonna be good.
Love it. Can't
White
wait.
person's gonna save the day. That's why she helped start a Lamanite Relief Society in Sister Whitehorse's house in the Indian section of town.
In the Indian
Why is there an Indian
of town?
section of the town, Sam?
It's called a reservation.
Just tell us. Most of the time, Charly was the only white person there. Wow, so brave. So brave. They talked mostly in Sioux. Is that how you say Sioux?
Yeah, sure.
Which meant that she became the shy, quiet, reserved one among them. But she tried gamely to learn their language and customs.
And by the end of it, she was the best Native American of all.
She was the best of all. She got
They made Sam their chief. He even thought about smoking the peace pipe, but didn't.
By the end of her 7th month of pregnancy, there were 8 Lamanite sisters coming out to church. I still cannot get over how these just openly calling them Lamanites.
Why are they coming to church if they have their own close to home?
I think that's what it meant, like going to their own one.
Okay.
At first, we laboured with the Lamanites because we felt we had so much to offer them. But as time progressed, we realised that they had much to give us. Okay, nice. Okay, thank God. A valuable turnaround. We needed them as much as they needed us. For instance, Sister Whitehorse had a married daughter Charly's age, whose name was Celia. Her husband's name was John. They had a little 6-month-old baby named Billy, a chubby, delightful boy with plenty of dark hair. Celia was one of the sisters who nearly always attended Relief Society. In time, Charly and Celia became special friends. More like sisters, really. They did their shopping together. Celia showed Charly how to shop garage sales. Most of the things we bought for our expected baby were from garage sales. At first, I was sensitive, so basically the Lamanites can teach them how to be poor and do it well. It's like what I'm getting from this.
Sam loves that.
Yeah, he does. He loves frugality. At first, I was sensitive about that, but Charly assured me that she shopped only in the richest neighborhoods in town.
I was sensitive
So you're having someone from the Native American reservation come and help you like thrift stuff for your newborn baby. And you have to reassure your husband that, but they only would thrift from the rich neighborhoods in town, aka the white neighborhoods.
This is really incredibly tone deaf.
And then he said,
and I know that shouldn't be
know.
so shocking
Like,
at this point.
So far beyond tone deaf. It's like, you just vomited this out. You just like poured your psyche onto the page with no self-awareness. No self-awareness.
Lordy Lord.
That helped a little. So he's still got a few reservations about having second-hand things from the richest neighborhoods in town. One time, but he was fine when they didn't have a toilet. One time, when we had just bought half a gallon of ice cream for dessert, on the way home, Charly suggested we stop by and share it with John and Celia. She could do things like that. Anyway, we were sitting on the living room. I love when writers use anyway.
I've lost myself. I digress.
Anyway, we were sitting in the living room of their small apartment. Hanging on the wall was a beautiful decoration known as a god's eye. It was made of orange and red yarn woven back and forth to make a 6-sided pattern. That really is nice, I said in admiration. John stood up, took it off the wall, handed it to me, and then sat down again. Now it's yours, Celia said. Oh, no, please, I wouldn't feel right about taking it. Oh, I wish they weren't giving him this.
Yeah,
He's not going to appreciate anything artistic. Please, take it, she encouraged us. I was about to object further when Charly said, thank you so much. It's beautiful. We'll cherish it always.
There you go, Charly.
She's so much better than him.
Yeah.
She's such a Princess Diana. We left them with a bare wall. They had given us the one thing of beauty in their room. You tell me how many white men would do that. That's what I meant about us needing them. Okay, lots of thoughts about this. I know that this could be taken as like a heartwarming story that highlights how like, white American culture is not giving, and these other cultures that are often poorer and have been like, made poor by white people, etc., like are more giving, and that's great. Another interpretation I have, though, of Jack Wayland is kind of this idea that in order for you to really like love, for example, Native American people, they have to like overcompensate for your racism by giving you the one thing of beauty they had in their home. Like, this is almost like what you need Native American people to be like for you to even like humanize them.
It's the
Am I crazy here?
No, it's the literary cliche of the noble savage. The white man comes and it finds out, these people are so strange and savage and barbarians, but they've taught me something about what it means to be human, and therefore
they still exist for me.
Exactly.
To give me things. Like, it's like also, even this idea originally, because he was like, at first we labored with them because we felt like we had so much to offer them. No, you didn't. You labored with them because like your ego needs them to accept this religion that it's like dependent on. And again, not because you actually give a shit.
Yeah.
And because you think you'll get spiritual brownie points. So then, even to begin with, you weren't helping them, you weren't serving them. That's delusional. But then to be like, but then we realized.
The thing is like, I mean, I grew up next to a reservation. Like a third of my high school or something like that was Native American. And the thing is like, it's just people. We're just people. It's not like,
they don't have to be these fucking like savior, like saints.
It's just a person.
It's like you can't. You can never just see them as equal. You have to see them as like mystically generous. And it's like, I'm sure there is a lot of generosity in Native American culture, but also there shouldn't have to be for you to like not be a dick to them.
It's the white savior complex the white. That's the episode.
Well, can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts on that.
Was that the end of the chapter?
Yeah, that was the end of the
thank
chapter.
God.
And I think we all learned a little something about what it means to truly give and take and receive and donate and thrift from the richest neighborhoods in town only.
I think we said this at the beginning, but this book has really inspired me. I'm like, Jack went for it, and how much more able are all of us to pursue our creative, noble endeavors. Write your book. It can't be this bad.
Like, if you're gonna peddle racism, maybe don't write the book. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know that you have like this whole thing going on right now with this, but it's also like, must you? Must you?
The thing, like, what sucks to realize the most is that this is the progressive side of Mormonism in the 80s.
The fact that he was saying, we actually came to realize that Native Americans were also human. It's like the progressive ideology of the time. And we're not superior. I mean, we still kind of are.
Now, their dark skin is I wouldn't be surprised for next chapter to be like, and their skin began to turn lighter the more they came to church.
Like, what? Oh, God.
Because that's a literal Mormon doctrine
I
that was being
wasn't expecting
teaching at
this to
this
go
time.
there. There's two ways that Native Americans are portrayed. Either as these, like, sitting on the couch with a knife, menacing
I hate
anti-white.
white people for no
They
reason.
all had braids. And then there's, like, the ones that accept Mormonism, and those ones are the good ones.
Two types.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us. If you're enjoying this series, please support us on Patreon. Also, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to us.
Okay, bye.
Bye.